Hey, thanks, Karthik. I think it's been a long day, but yeah, I'm hoping this evening we'll make it fun. Uh, I am looking forward to the stream. Yeah, I think we are live. Here we go. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is going to be a completely freewheeling session today. There is no preparation, nothing going into this live video. So this is going to be interesting. However, having said that, I think I actually we not want to start this on a somber note, right? As you may have noticed, I'm wearing black today in protest for whatever is happening. Or the injustice that has happened to the family in Hathras. I know it's still plenty of details are missing, and I just thought we should take a moment and acknowledge that we tend to live in our own bubbles that we create for ourselves, and on important issues like this, right? I think we should at least the least that we could do is acknowledge and express ourselves vocally that this is not the kind of India that we want to see, and this is not acceptable to us. Um, and in that spirit, I'm wearing black today to show my protest and also to show solidarity to the members of the family of the victim. Right? I hope it's very hard. I hope they'll find the strength to fight this, and hopefully, we should stop seeing incidents like this, man. I mean, this is so depressing and saddening.
Yeah, Karthik. I think, yeah, I mean, it happens repeatedly in this country after all that talk, and, yeah, I think we're still that way long way off from what our value systems are enshrined. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to encourage more people within our own ecosystem to come out and express their anguish and anger at this as well. Unless we collectively stand and make our voices heard, it's very very difficult to make a change. Um, Moving on, today is Mahatma Gandhi's birth anniversary. Good coincidence.
What's the coincidence?
I mean, not to make everything about ourselves, but our freewheeling session, and then Mahatma Gandhi's birth anniversary coincided on the same day, October 2nd. So why
Yeah.
not bask in the glory for a bit?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's interesting. So much of political talk that of the last couple of episodes that we have to do. We discussed the Farm Bill last time and its implications in detail. We had Bhavik, coming and discussing. There's a lot of political undertones to that, and today we're talking about this, and I think look, we can't stay totally disengaged from what's happening in the country and what's happening in the process. At the end of the day, right? I think whatever all of us do together is an implication and a consequence of the society and what it can do to the society also. I think we should participate, as you said, both in the condemnation and in both the encouragement, of society wherever that's possible. Good and bad both. I think that's good. I think we should stand. I think we've made our voice heard. Hopefully, others will do the same, and hopefully, justice will prevail.
Yeah, that's the hope. I really, really hope that we'll stop seeing these kind of incidents. And speaking of Mahatma Gandhi, one of the very uh, really impactful things from my childhood, right, was when I was in my, I don't know, maybe in my fifth or sixth class. I don't remember, but one day, all of us, our school teacher, made us go to the nearest theater and watch a movie, right? I mean, we're all like excited to go and watch a movie in the middle of this school day.
Mm.
And it turned out to be Gandhi, right? I mean, it's just fascinating. That was one of the first biographies that I've seen in my life. Maybe the first one, actually, and
Mm.
it's left quite an indelible impression on me, right? I mean, it's just so fascinating and fantastic to see that on the big screen for me. And I've always been a fan of history, but that kind of sealed it for me.
This was the Ben Kingsley movie, I'm assuming.
That's correct. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The Oscar winner.
Yes. Since you brought that anecdote, right, I have this habit, maybe I should tell, I'm a big fan of Gandhi myself, right? And usually, right, I have a couple of copies at home to gift a book like this.
Ah, there you go.
I
Perfect.
have gifted to most of the K-Start colleagues last year, sometime in January for New Year or something. I just bought a bunch of his books, and I've read his books. Yes, and I mean, there is contradictions in Gandhi, and there is but you can take all of it. That's the
Mhm.
part. Obviously, nothing is going to be like perfect, right? I think people assume, Gandhi himself would have been like super perfectionist in whatever
Is
he.
the ideal,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah. Not
there
the
is this ideal of Mahatma Gandhi, and then there is the real
correct.
human being.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's real. So that's how I see it for. And plus, those qualities which are difficult even for anybody else, right? Like, non-violence and those things. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I won't call myself a Gandhian. That would be too much of a statement to make. But I just think, violence is no place in any society. That like, including at home, right? I'm like always insisting, there has to be no, even for the kids, right? Sometimes, people get frustrated and they try to, use that as a choice of, intimidation. So I think that's where it starts from, in some sense, right? It starts from parents and kids. So I think I'm like very, very conscious about that, even at home, not to use violence, even in the smallest form, right? Rather use your voice, use rhetoric, talk through, maybe you. I think that's how I see it as. Maybe I should send you guys, due books. I have 2 copies left of the biography. Maybe it's for you two both when we meet next time. Yeah.
Perfect. That would be great, right? I think this should be your new thing to do at Java Capital, right? I mean,
Yeah,
follow the
yeah,
same
I've been
tradition.
doing that, so yeah, I can continue that as long as you buy the books, in Java's name. I'm happy to do it. Yeah.
There's always a catch, isn't there?
Okay, I think now we have Bhargavi also joined. Bhargavi, welcome to Gandhi Jayanti. That's what Karthik's been doing. Yeah,
Special episode.
Welcome.
a special episode with Gandhi and
So
other.
the special thing about today's episode is we are going to take the complete airtime amongst the three of us. So that's the most special thing today.
That-
But yeah, so we will also let go of the viewers earlier than usual, I think.
that's the surprise announcement for today.
So Bhargavi, you've been telling us you'll make an announcement over the last 3 episodes, right? Some people are starting to ping me and ask, you're not making this announcement, and are getting disappointed. I am also disappointed now. So what?
Yeah, exactly. Whatever happened to it?
So we did close the investment. It was of course our next investment. So we are prepping the PR now. So definitely next week, yes. But yeah, Java has done its second investment officially. It's official.
Yay! Okay, so we'll wait for the announcement. Yeah, wait, wait. Yeah. So Karthik, what's happened over the week that's caught your eye? Especially.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting me on spot.
I
I think,
thought you had important topic to talk. So
yeah, I think we did that, Bhargavi. You should go back and watch
We
it.
did, we did, we did. As usual, you missed the first few minutes. uh, yeah, Vinod, you're right. Something really did catch my attention this week, right? So in the morning, like I go biking for about like an hour,
Hmm.
and every time I do that, I make sure that I listen to a podcast, usually to something related to entrepreneurship, right? Something like how I built this, or maybe the Axel Insights or the Matrix one, uh, from India, and others like that, right? So I was listening to one podcast this week, and there was a couple of guests who were discussing how Reliance ended up grabbing like $15 billion or 20 billion of foreign investment, right? And you know how there is this whole movement against the foreign digital leaders, if you will, right? For example, Facebook or Apple or Google. Um, I thought that was rather interesting. One gentleman made an argument saying that it is one way of making nice with the current administration by investing in companies that are close to the are perceived as close to the administration.
Hmm.
While the other gentleman tended to agree, in general, he has a lot of misgivings about these Western giants, coming in to India and then trying to get a piece of the pie, right? So I thought that was a good, interesting sort of a conversation. Obviously, anybody who's looking at the investments going into Reliance, right? Really huge, big ticket investments. Um, so that really caught my attention. And then, as an extension to that, right? I think I also read some news somewhere this past week that there is an Atmanirbhar digital India or something to that effect. I believe it came out on Bloomberg recently, where it is being led by the likes of Vijay Shekhar Sharma, right?
Yeah.
With the ideal of making sure that India remains a fertile ground for Indian startups rather than become a playing ground for some of these international players, right? Mainly Facebook and Google. Um, yeah, so this is a coalition of a lot of the well-known entrepreneurs coming together, and I thought it was interesting. Some of the other guys who are backing this were Yashish Dahiya of Policy Bazaar, Harshil Mathur from Razorpay, and Vishal of Goki, right? Um, this is interesting because there's a parallel movement that is happening in the US at the same time as well. It's pretty much the same situation in the US too, right? There are these two companies, which are pretty much dominating every aspect of the digital life there. Um, this really caught my eye this week.
No, I tend to agree. There's a lot of news trying to say digital colonization and stuff like that. But I think Karthik, if you look at it from a market perspective, right? Google is dominated that part of the ecosystem, clearly knowing it can capitalize on some of these pieces, right? I think what's changed is the pandemic in to some extent, because a lot of thing which were consumed offline in the past is being consumed online today, right? The Google's umbrella is just becoming wider, just like Apple has been so adamant, so almost, to the point where, apps have been pulled out. So we had the hey.com when it launched, the controversy on that, why, payments had to happen to that, a 30% cut on that. And people justify Apple's cut, on the other side of the story, saying, look, it's a super secure platform. They provide you the security that's available and you pay for that, right? And I think, why will Google not want to charge the same thing? If nobody started shouting wolf about Apple all these days, right? Now you're suddenly starting to shout wolf when Google wants to capitalize, because the Android ecosystem is much more highly penetrated in India
Hmm.
compared to the iOS App Store ecosystem. And
It's a monopoly, like 95% of
exactly,
all user.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. So I think in some sense, bulk of the Indian users, money will get routed through the Android ecosystem. That's becoming a question. But there is nothing, you build a better store or you build a better OS, right? And that's the true way, if you ask me, to competitively tackle that. Like an example, Indus OS is building something, and that's a true
mhm.
way to tackle it, right? Or else, I think you're asking, the government to provide you crutches at some level. Give me some crutches, I'll try and stand on them. I mean, does it hurt?
But isn't it fair though? I think if you look at the example of China, right? I mean, it literally walled off all of these Western digital companies to have any say in Chinese market. Is it wrong to expect something like that in India for Indian companies?
I mean, then you're throwing the comparison like slightly way off, right? Like China has been a world market. Maybe we shouldn't provide anything to China, like because they're a world market. And being a democracy, if we want the global platform for ourselves, and then the global will also want to play here, right? I think it's like somewhat reciprocal nature of that trade itself, right? In some sense. So I don't think so. We can wall ourselves completely, but we should compete. I think the point is, are we there ready to compete? Can we build another app store or competitive OS or app store, whatever that means, right? Can we do something like that? Is the question. And Google can charge what it wants to. They're a private company, right? If you don't want to use, it's fine. But that's where I think people will see. I think it's between almost free market capitalism versus almost this is socialism. The Atmanirbhar app is trying to tend towards socialism at some level. Quite controversial comments that I'm making today, right? At that level. It's like asking, I don't want to buy popcorn in PVR cinemas. I want to go to buy cinema ticket, but I'll not buy popcorn because it's expensive inside PVR cinemas, right? Telling PVR, reduce the popcorn to market rates outside. Can you do that? It's a classic example. I used to have this argument saying I paid for the ticket, but I will not pay for the popcorn. I'll buy it from outside. Now, you can make the same argument here also. I want the OS and all the technology that goes into it, but I will not pay for the cut, right? It's exactly that argument, PVR popcorn argument, frankly speaking, if you ask me. And people pay more for the popcorn at PVR than for the film tickets, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. What do you think, Bhargavi?
No, Vinod has made all points. No further comments.
Come on, maybe you can talk about sandwiches and French fries or something at PVR. Come on.
I can't compete with the popcorn analogies.
But I think, guys, having said all these things, right? Look, the government is actually subsidizing various other aspects of the economy, right? I am not an advocate of socialist style economy, obviously, right? I've grown up in the age of globalization, but all things said and done, globalization is upon us, right? Where slowly, regionalization is happening, localization is happening across the board, even in entrenched industries like if you speak logistics or supply chain, right? People are rethinking, is this the right strategy? One of the companies that really mastered this in a way, right, is Zara. The fashion, the fast fashion retail company, right? Which I think it endured this slow growth that is induced by COVID much better than many of their other competitors because of this localization component, right? Where they set up manufacturing units in Europe itself, which is quite strange when you think about it, right? Because most of the manufacturing was happening in Asia, and then bring.
I think maybe we've lost Karthik for a bit. Yeah. So maybe we'll continue. You know, by the way, I think I think Karthik was hinting at globalization. I think as a generation, right? At least I read Nandan Nilekani quotes on Thomas Friedman's "The World is Flat," and I literally assumed it is flat, right? And that's where I was like, yes, if Nandan Nilekani and he can make the world flat, right, then it's easier for us to run. It's no more like I think it's slowly changing. I hope it's not for the long run, and only certain things change. I'm hoping just for sustainability. Yeah. What's your thoughts on on that, right? Given the current economic scenario, we're seeing those kind of things happening. Yes.
Um, See, I think I have always felt that India skipped the manufacturing wave, and it's going to probably come back and bite at some point in time. And currently, we have been forced to sort of get on that, right? So that way, I'm quite happy. Because personally, I know companies which are setting shop here, setting up procurement centers in India, actively looking outside of the Southeast Asian markets, typically, which is the Taiwan, Hong Kong, China belt, and Malaysia, of course. So, keeping aside globalization, and all those things, see, there is a lot of political play at some level, definitely, which happens beyond all these things, especially when we are talking names like Google, Facebook, and the likes of it, right? Uh, I always like to see ground level what's happening, what's going to happen to the middle India, which, like how you would like to put it, right? I think uh, there is probably a thrust which is given for manufacturing, encouragement given for people trying to set up a new shop, a revival in old time contract manufacturers. We see actually a lot of new brands coming in with old time contract manufacturers, right? People trying to get their own brand, launching that. And today we have that platform, all said and done. Amazon, Facebook, the likes of, sorry, Flipkart, the likes of it, crushing small time players. But I also see so many new brands getting launched because it makes it easier for these guys, right, to get first initial launch eyeballs, then divert traffic to your own website. Because these contract manufacturers who were operating under wafer thin margins earlier, who have been crushed by large brands who were sourcing from them, they can now take the complete pie. They can now take the complete value in the value chain. So these are very good trends, which I am seeing, at least personally, which is quite heartening. I know I have digressed a bit, but I tend to see it from a not from a 20,000 feet level, but probably from a 2,000 feet level on what's happening.
No, I think that's a interesting take. As Karthik tries and fixes his internet connection to get back to freewheeling with us, uh, the other story that's been doing the rounds, I just thought, maybe we should just highlight. I think we went through the Harun rich list last week, right? We are seeing for the first time, the new economy producing, a lot of rich folks, right? 27 unicorns. We have the fastest growth in income levels is among unicorns, and and then
Yeah,
obviously
good to see
Mumbai.
so many startup founders' name in that.
Yeah, yeah. Frankly, there's no VC names. I'm extremely disappointed. Now there's not a single VC on the.
We don't know your net worth, so it's not public information. But I
Not
think
so
all
I
said
think
and done, many VC revenue or earnings is still probably parked outside, so you don't know.
so. Basically, what I want to tell on this freewheeling session to all founders and also to other general public who think VCs make a lot of money. Say, go look at the Harun list. There's not a single VC on the list. There's a bunch of founders. Go become a founder, and we will fund you still. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Uh,
Vinod, I wanted to talk about. I'm sure you would have seen the public app funding.
public.
App. In shots, from the founder,
Yes.
260 crore funding from, and lease back with it. It's right up your alley, right? I generally find it very difficult to understand any of these funding and valuation of mobile apps like this. But we always have opposing views on all these things. So, what did you
No,
think when you saw this?
No, I think, frankly, right, I was actually surprised. He came back and made this investment in um, uh, in shorts, right? I don't know. I've like in the recent past, at least, I've not had people using in shorts. Rarely that I've received any
I do
links.
know people still use InShots. I know a lot of people, but I also know that InShots probably ran into trouble to raise their subsequent funding, and people didn't know what's going to happen to that because it was a in thing, right? When it came in, I know public has been slowly getting the downloads and all that. So it was quite surprising to see such a large fundraise, and especially when the founder is running in shots as well. And Lee is back.
Lee is back is a good thing. I don't know, good thing for whom and good bad thing for whom. So that's like a question. It only plays out over the years, right? Like I'll tell you the reason when Lee is back, what happens. I'll tell you, right? We were talking about this in our last Angel course, right? In 2011, right? When he made his bet on Axel, right? I mean, the Indian charter ecosystem, right, had no fire at that time, right?
Yes,
Yet,
yes.
he just lit the fire. It started blowing up, literally, right, and it blew up, and in some sense, he accelerated. He was the original, what you call, catalyst for.
Probably what Nivas is for angel investing, he's probably working for Indian ecosystem.
Yeah, I think the Indian ecosystem. He just made the Indian investors take risks, more risks, higher risks. I have seen portfolios prior to 2010, right? I'll tell you, it used to be service companies, value-added SaaS, mobile SaaS providers. Really, not like real startup-y companies, right? I think the timing of Tiger in 2011, opened up the Indian venture ecosystem to the world, and largely also to the Indian founders, right? They knew, there is somebody who can back you up, and also
Yeah,
Indian
yeah.
investors were confident, of, oh, there's somebody else who will back you up, in the next round, and provide for growth, right? And I think now we've passed from 2011 to 2020, right? Now we have enormous, amount of money that's coming into the country. What changes with Lee coming now is a question. It's no more money now. It's no more that that the initial 2011 wave that he can lit, right? But I'm sure he has something up his sleeve which is not yet visible, which he will play it out over the next couple of years, right? So he knows this game well, and how he plays out, we'll see. Is it new sectors, a new type of founders, and like I remember in this book about in Golden Tap by Kashyap, Lee's criteria used to be at that time. I don't subscribe to the criteria. Disclaimer. It used to be that he'd look for an IIT guy and who's also a bania, and he'll just put the money there. I mean, I'm just saying, anecdotal. I'm not attributing that Lee would definitely do. But that was the attribute. I don't know what attribute he'll choose this time around. I'm sure he should not choose that attribute. That would be my, request to him. But I'm sure he'll have something which we've not seen and not thought about yet, and he'll come up with an interesting thesis, and he'll do well. Good for the ecosystem for sure. Again, yeah. And by the way, on that note, right, the other thing that caught my eye, right, uh, uh, this series of IPOs, happening in the Indian public
Yeah,
market.
of which I'm not getting allocation in anything.
Yeah, only I get. I've seen that. Really, yeah, I'm so lucky. I didn't apply for any this time, but just heard that the Mazagon Docs public again fully
Yeah.
subscribed. Chemcon subscribed. Every company subscribed and is going 100%. Right? We saw that other company I'm 110% the day Snowflakes listed in the US. Right, Happiest Mind listed. So there's like an unusual time where IPO market is booming. This reminds me of 2008, 9. Literally, IPOs boomed before the market just tanked completely. After that, IPO market tanked, primary, secondary, both markets tanked. I don't know, is there ominous signs? Was there is money and everybody is pumping it into IPOs also now, primary money. And there's no startup IPOs. That's like still a worry for us. But money is available. That's what it means for the whole system itself. Yeah.
Okay, looks like Karthik is not going to come back.
Yeah. Looks like Karthik is not going to come back, which is good. Maybe. Uh, so the company that caught my eye, I'll tell you that this is a company in the what do you call video? I think it's called Rephrase.ai. So basically, what Rephrase does is, you give it voice, uh, and it is able to use a single video and produce multiple voices. Right?
Mm,
It
mm.
seemed a very interesting. Lightspeed is taken a shot at that. That's something interesting that's happening. I like that company and see, I mean, imagine the use cases are brilliant. Like, imagine I can, we can have same faces or, voices and, it kind of changes what can be put in front, right? So that's the one company that caught my eye for the week. What did catch
And
your eye for
I
the
wanted
week?
to ask you one thing. See, I saw another. So of course, Stay Curious news came out right this week. Of course, we knew about it since some time. And I know. I think I read about one more company also in the coding arena about which news came out. What do you think? Do you still think there is more company which is going to come out, more money is going to go in? I know we discussed this topic to death in couple of, but it's just that it keeps coming, right? We also still keep seeing so many more companies. We keep hearing news about more funding. What do you think? Because I think last week again, two companies at least which we know of, which the news came out of, has got funding.
Hmm, 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 hmm. Oh, okay. I just got reminded that Karthik spoke about rephrase last week, it seems. Okay. Great,
Yeah.
Karthik. Thanks, man. Um, I think EdTech, right, is starting to feel so, there's so many companies now. Everybody wants to start an EdTech company. That's what it looks like currently, right? It's getting harder and harder to pick for us also. I mean, I think, going by our data on the pipeline, I would say, 20-25% of the pipeline is EdTech company now. Which is making it hard to make the right picks. But I think in the next couple of years, we'll have enough liabilities in the ecosystem. Definitely, there'll be liabilities in the ecosystem. That's like very, very clearly visible. Like the food tech times, we will have some liabilities. I'm just hoping, maybe compared to food tech, which is operationally intensive in terms of, logistics and other things, EdTech is not that way logistically intensive. Ops is not ops heavy.
Mm.
So hopefully, the costs or the amount of money that will be burned hopefully is lower relatively compared to that. But I think this is like a churn. EdTech churn is on it, and then you have like large players who can consolidate the industry already there. Um, Unless we see one more Baiju, Unacademy. I mean, can we see a third one now? One more large player, or how many large players
Vedanta
can
is already
sustain it?
there. They are also pretty large, right? Vedant with their last two funding rounds, they are also pretty large now.
Correct. So how many can it sustain, right? I mean, going by economic principles, not more than 3, 4, right? So consolidation will continue to happen eventually, and liabilities will be there. I think once we finish this phase, yeah.
Good. So because we don't have a very big participant today,
Hmm. Hmm. Uh,
or at
so
least
so
both of us.
no, I know. No, I think we will also pushed him asking more questions. Uh, but what's the uh, take on you were not there earlier, Bhargavi. So what's your take on uh, this Google and the Atmanirbhar story, right? Store and app. What do you think will happen now? There's been so much of chest thumping happening on Twitter and largely on Twitter, frankly, nowhere else. Yeah,
There will be so much short-term chaos, but I think everything, when the dust settles, Google will survive.
okay, that's like a good, easy answer, I would say. Okay.
See, I can also make controversial statements which is going here, right? I'm just trying to play it safe as I usually do.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Interesting. Yeah.
So
Okay. Any? Huh.
I just wanted to ask one final thing, right, before we wrap up. Um,
Hmm.
what is the next wave you see? Because we know a tech wave came now, and so many funding came, um,
Hmm.
and gaming was also similarly something like a wave. We are seeing so many gaming companies getting funding now. So, what, according to you, very broadly, is the next wave?
Yeah. I hope I have an answer, but I'll try and give it a shot in this one. I think, right, in some sense, all of us, how much of change this whole COVID has put on us, right, will reflect on that change, what's going to come up, right? I've been telling this in the beginning, right? I think EdTech trend is happening. We will start seeing internet penetration even going further and transactions happening online, right? What that means is we'll go beyond Amazon and Flipkart kind of a model. We will go deeper on the both the penetration and the kind of services and products, right? That can lend itself for India's next thing. But there is a pause also, right? I think the next couple of quarters, given how the economic situation is, right, like what will people buy, also plays a role. I think short-term behavior seems to be like very, very difficult to predict. Any interesting trend, difficult to predict. But I think long term, I would bet on more brands. I would bet more on consumption in other parts of India, and we have two successive strong, above normal monsoons. That means our production of grains and everything is way above, our even reserve requirements. And frankly, right, with all that, we should be able to export and make money, but we are not able to make money. I mean, it's just a very weird situation to be. So I think any consumption patterns in the other parts of the Bharat stories, right? I think that's where I would keep an eye on. I expect newer models. Maybe somebody builds a completely different kind of a model for that part of the India, right? So I think that's where I sense opportunities and trends to watch out. I called as like maybe Bharat stories. I would keep an eye out for that as a next big large bet. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So,
I think from me
Bharat,
it is agriculture. I think with all this talk on farm bill and again going by the consumption also, right? You need little more nudge and trust there, and now probably people are more prone to looking at other solutions which somebody is building, which they were not able to do earlier, maybe. So I would think
hmm,
it's probably um, time is right for agri companies to become mainstream, which probably weren't like that. So that's what I would think. Again, yeah, not short term, mid to long term kind of trend.
got it. I think that's cool. Hey, anybody watching us? This is Freewheeling Fridays by Java Capital. If you have any questions and if you want to join us next time, drop a comment either on Periscope or on YouTube. This is Freewheeling. Karthik's got carted out today. And it's me and Bhargavi. Feel free to write, if you have any questions to, hello at javacapital.co. All of us are again, accessible on Twitter, on LinkedIn. If you are a startup, looking for any inputs or, funding, always open to, talking to you all. Uh, I said that, having said that, Bhargavi, so I think, what I'm excited is, a couple of things that we are doing currently, in a sense, that's something exciting.